Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how I bred all these Congo Tetras, which you can see in this tank. These are fish I've bred now twice. I bred them once off camera, and this was the second time I ever bred them, and they were a lot of fun. It wasn't without its challenges. I found spawning them fairly easy, but I found raising the babies a little bit more difficult. I was able to get a lot of them up to kind of a smaller size, but I ran into disease kind of halfway through the process, and you'll find out more about that later on in the video. But yeah, here's my little army that I've got, and these are starting to get quite big. They're about 4 to 5 centimeters, so they're kind of bigger than what you would normally see them in the shops. And I'm going to keep all of these, I think. I was planning on taking them to the shop, but I cannot part ways with my little piranha army. So if you are one of those people like me who at the very start of their hobby wanted to keep piranhas, like every little kid, you see them in movies and stuff, you want to keep piranhas. These are like the mini version of a piranha. They are a tetra, so I think in some ways they're distantly related to a piranha. Did you eat my blackworms? They have a predatory nature, but I think I had 2 blackworm cubes saved here and Sam ate them. So I'm gonna have to get some more. Here you'll see just how predatorial they really are. I'll squeeze up a little cube of blackworms, and they'll just go nuts for this in the background while I explain how I bred them. So I do have all the footage of these guys from babies until adults now. You'll see that throughout the video, but I also bred these as part of my adventures in my fish keeping diary series. Wow, that's just insane. You guys can watch the whole entire process through those vlogs as well, but this is just the summary video. I bred these in my 2-foot tanks. Just this tank here, literally, this is where they've been their whole entire life. The way I did this was I obviously got a group of Congo Tetras a while back. I actually saved some that I had bred previously, so from that first batch, and grew them out in a tank with some biches. They got massive. The adults are huge, and I've still got a couple of them. They got massive, and I'd constantly see them trying to spawn in the tank that they were in. So I knew that they were ready to go. I conditioned them up with lots of high protein foods, so freeze-dried blackworms, live blackworms. I even did feed them some frozen bloodworms because they are a bit of a bigger tetra, so they can take the frozen bloodworms. I fed them that. They started to get massive. The way you can tell the males and females is really easy. Males have like longer back fins, and females get fatter, and they look completely different. It's very easy to tell if you are keen on breeding them. So what I did was, I think I tried once and it didn't work. So I tried a second time and it worked. I set up this tank. I filled it completely with RO water, so reverse osmosis water. We're actually looking to start supplying these ourselves because they are just so useful to have if you're keen on breeding fish or keeping Caridina shrimp. But basically, this tank normally has a TDS of about 200 parts per million. That's just our tap water, and that's what I use for all our water changes. To stimulate these guys to spawn, you have to pretend that it's like a rainy season or it's been a big rains, because when the rains come, they think there's going to be an abundance of food because extra food gets washed into the ecosystem, but also it's breeding season. They have more access to places. So you really have to convince the adult fish that this is the time to spawn. And also the eggs can be kind of sensitive, and I think that they do need soft water to hatch. So we filled the tank completely with RO water. RO water basically is just the water stripped of all the TDS, and it goes down to about 30 parts per million when I use it. So that helps these a lot to feel like there's been a big rainy season. And what I did was I filled the tank completely with RO water. I kept it at about 24 degrees Celsius. I think I even bumped this up actually to 28 degrees Celsius. I wanted them to feel like it was really warm, and I filled the entire bottom with spawning mops so that when they did spawn, the eggs had somewhere to go. I had one spawn and all the eggs were infertile, and my theory was that they'd just been sitting inside the female a long time, that they'd gone rotten, but I spawned them the second time and I had success. They were fertilized. So they actually didn't predate too much on their eggs. I added them in on the first day. I didn't see any spawning. The second day, I didn't see any spawning, but on the third morning they spawned. So I think they just need a couple days to settle in, and that's what I've read from the Fish Keeping Bible. We sell those down below too if you're interested, but that's where I got like all the information to breed them. They spawned, the second batch were fertilized. They hatched out. They're quite big fry, and they could take my liquid gold brine shrimp eggs from day one. from there, it was pretty smooth sailing. I kept the temperature high. I fed them bug buffet, brine shrimp at least 2 or 3 times a day. I think I even might have fed them some green water to start off, and I pretty much had a 99% success rate with all these fry surviving. Anything that hatched out, I pretty much got up to size, but I ran into an issue halfway through raising them, and I lost about 75% of them, which when looking at this, you think there's a lot of Congo Tetras here now. There was like way more. I think the tank was probably a little bit overstocked, but they did get a disease, and it wiped out a bunch of the bristlenose you can see in here, and it also wiped out these guys, and it also wiped out 2 very expensive chameleon whiptails that I had in the room. So it was kind of irritating, but I lost a bunch of them. They were really sick, but I treated them with trisulfur and did a bunch of water changes and some salt, and they all came good. You can see they're all here now, disease-free and recovered, and I didn't fail at breeding them. Another thing I'd like to mention in this video, I know this is a little bit all over the place, I did have the lights off after the fish spawned, just in case the eggs were photosensitive. I didn't add any methylene blue or do anything for the eggs. I just left them. I let them hatch out on their own. I didn't touch the tank or anything. All I did was I just turned the light off and kept the sponge filter going. And obviously I didn't have any snails or bristlenose in here. That was important to note as well, because they will eat your eggs. But I think that's pretty much it. I found this fish about a 5 out of 10 hardness to breed. I don't think that there's any more worth noting. They're a great species. They're good because they can go on planter tanks, and obviously they're beautiful, but they do get quite big. So yeah, this is how I got my Congo Tetra army, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.